Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Quiet Fire podcast. Today, I want to talk about a sense of hope that a lot of us tend to face when we have big dreams and big goals. We spend so much time preparing for things to fall apart. We know how to anticipate rejection. We rehearse what we'll say when things don't go our way. We guard our hearts. We wait for the shoe to drop. But what if it doesn't? What if for once the things you want do in fact work out? What if the dream takes off? The person stays, the idea lands, the healing sticks. Today's episode is a gentle invitation to entertain that most radical of possibilities. What if things actually go right? Let's explore what it means to believe in that, and why hope can sometimes feel scarier than fear. If you've ever caught yourself saying things like, I don't want to get my hopes up, or I'll just expect the worst so I won't be disappointed, you're not alone. Hope is vulnerable. It asks you to picture something beautiful without knowing if it'll arrive. So we protect ourselves, we keep expectations low, we preempt our own disappointment. And sometimes that can make sense, especially if you have a history of being let down, especially if trusting the future has burned you. But the cost of that armor is that you never fully allow yourself to imagine joy. You clip your dreams by the wings before they even get to grow and soar. Here's something that I've learned. Is that hope is not naive. It in fact is courageous. It takes guts to picture a life better than the one you've known and the one you've experienced. To believe that things can change. To say, I think that this actually might work. Even if your hands are shaking, we talk so much about being prepared for the worst. But there's another kind of preparation too, and that's preparing for the best. Building the muscles of receptivity. Letting your body learn to receive goodness, not just survive hardship. What if you trained your nervous system to expect peace, to recognize calm as not as suspicious, but as safe? That's the kind of hope we're talking about here. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture that one thing you're scared to want. The move, the relationship, the creative risk, the job that feels too big to say out loud. Now ask yourself, what would change if I believed, truly believed, even just for today, that this could work? What would open up? What new version of me might show up? What would I do differently? How would I want to live this life? What would I change in the life that I currently have now in order to make room for the things that I want in the future? This isn't about being unrealistic, but it's about refusing to center fear in your decision making and settle for less than you want and less than you deserve. And honestly, it's about letting your joy hold the pen for once. I know that it can be hard to hope when history has taught you not to, when you've been disappointed before. Maybe the last time you trusted someone they left. Maybe you tried before and it blew up in your face. Maybe you were told that dreaming was dangerous. Maybe the relationships and the environment that you have been in have taught you to expect less. But still, look at you. You're here. You're reaching, still wondering if things can be different, still dreaming. That is not weakness. That is resilience. You're allowed to want more, even if it didn't work before. You're allowed to be cautious and hopeful. You are allowed to try again, this time with boundaries, wisdom, and gentleness. So what does it look like to live in a world where it does work out? It's the craft of building a life that welcomes goodness. Reality, but goodness. What I mean by that is that in life, there is always going to be a sense of reality. Things that happen just because they happen, just because it's the nature of life, just because that's the way life is. But that doesn't mean that you don't get or don't deserve goodness. It means letting your calendar reflect your joy, not just your obligations, the things that you are allowed to want, allowed to have. It means being able to say yes to things that light you up, even if they scare you or even if they're new. It means choosing softness, even when your past has taught you hardness. It means shifting the soundtrack in your head from what if I fail to what if this changes my life? And what if I actually am allowed to get all the things in life that I want? Because sometimes the risk isn't in failing. It's in never giving yourself the chance to fly, to take those risks, to try the things that you want to do. Because if you never try, you'll never know. There's a quote that says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that is so true. Because if you don't let yourself try the things that you want to, you'll always have the message in your head that says, what if? What if I was brave enough to do that? What if I was able to make the move? What if I was able to get the relationship? What if I was able to get the job? And if you don't try to do those things, you'll never know what it's like. And of course, with all things in life, just because you try doesn't mean it's guaranteed. But at least you have a shot, and you haven't given up before you've even started. And so, here's what I want to leave you with. You're allowed to believe that it can go right. You're allowed to trust yourself. You're allowed to open the door to joy and leave it open. I know it's vulnerable. I know it feels like a risk. But hope is the first step towards change. And even if it doesn't turn out the way you imagined, you'll know you showed up with your whole heart. And that's always worth it. So thanks for dreaming with me today. Until next time, don't brace for impact, brace for flight. And as always, don't forget, you are amazing, you are loved, and I thank you for being here.